In this video, I'm going to show you how to transfer your tight linear drawing onto your illustration board. It's a super simple method, very effective, low tech, easy to do. You will need your tight linear. You're going to need your illustration board that you already cut down. If you missed that video, go back and review how to cut that board down. You also need large tracing paper, a T-square, ruler, and a set square to rule out your image area, some low-tack tape, and a couple of pencils. A 2B is good, something soft, and then something a little harder, I have an H pencil. All right, so before we transfer the image, we're going to rule out the image area on the board just lightly in pencil, so we have some guidelines to help us register the transfer. All right, so this is just a review. I've already shown you how to use your T-square and set square in a previous video. T-square, nice and snug on the edge of a desk. Your illustration board snugly sits on top of the T-square, so everything is square. And then I'm going to tack it down with some low-tack tape. I'm going to use a ruler and a light pencil to measure out my borders. So for this assignment, it's a 15 by 15 board. Your image area is 10 by 10. So that gives me a 2.5 inch border all the way around. So I'm going to measure in 2.5, 2.5 this way, 2.5 inches, not centimeters. And I'm just making one little tick. My T-square and set square will look after the rest. And 2.5 here. All right, and then I'm just going to double check, make sure that that's 10 inches. Got it. Got it. Use my T-square, and I'm holding the T-square firmly against the edge. Even if that's coming off a little bit, it's not going to be straight. Sometimes students think that their T-square is broken, but it's not. It has to be nice and snug. And that super light pressure with my pencil. I want these to be light guidelines that I can erase. I don't want them to live forever. And I'm going to lightly create a guideline, and up here as well. And I'm going to use my set square to do the vertical lines. Again, I'm holding this nice and snug because I want this to be perfectly square. And I'll flip my set square. What an ingenious system. All right, so I have my beautiful guidelines, super duper light. And I'm ready to transfer my image. So now that we have the board measured out, we can start transferring your image. So here's your tight linear. I have it tacked down to the table so it doesn't wiggle around. And I have a piece of tracing paper over top. So when I trace this out, I'm just basically capturing the major shapes and contours and some of the detail that I really love. I'm not really worrying about line thicknesses because I know I can deal with that when I ink the board. So it goes faster than you think, really. So maybe 10 minutes or so, 10-15 minutes to trace. So I have one that's already traced out. Mine has markings on the back so you can't really see, but this is all traced out. And then just as a guide, I have written the word front on the front and back on the back, just so that your image doesn't get transferred in reverse. So I'm going to grab my board and lay down my tracing on top. So I have added guidelines onto my tracing to help me register the corners. I'm going to tack the tracing down with low tack tape. And then on the back of the image, the back of the tracing, you're going to scribble with a 2B pencil over top of your line work. Just like that. And you scribble. You don't have to scribble in the negative spaces, just scribble where the lines are. This is creating like a piece of carbon that you're going to use to press onto the front and transfer the lines through to the board. All right, so time passes. I have the whole thing scribbled. This is what it looks like. And then I'm going to use a hard pencil, like I have an H. And it's sharpened, so I have a nice crisp line. And then I'm going to trace it again. And I'm checking, and it's transferring. And I'll keep going. And you can take your time with this. I know it's a little bit tedious, but it's so effective. And I just keep checking every once in a while. If it doesn't transfer over, maybe just re-scratch that area. If your lines are too light, you could go to a darker pencil, like a 3B on the back. I find 2B is just kind of nicely in the middle, where I get enough of a mark, but it doesn't leave a big mess. All right, so transfer the whole image, and then you'll have all your lines, and then you can get inking. We've transferred our image over to our board, and now we're ready for inking. And that glorious design that you've spent all that time developing is now transferred in all of its beautiful, detailed glory onto an illustration board. You are ready for inking. In the next video, I'll show you how to ink it up.